It's 2025. Should people still be worried about Ozempic face, or is it just an urban legend? Well, hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the science behind Ozempic face, and I also want to highlight things that can be done to prevent, as well as cosmetic treatments to reverse quote-unquote Ozempic face. Now, Ozempic is a medication in the class known as GLP-1 receptor agonist. It's certainly not the only one, but this outcome of alteration to the face has just commonly been deemed Ozempic face, but it might be seen with other medications in this class used for weight loss. So these medications have transformed the lives of many people, especially those who struggle to lose weight, to lose body fat, despite diet and exercise. In addition to their effects on weight loss as weight loss medications, they also have a variety of other positive health effects for people. Some of those effects are secondary to the weight loss. Other positive effects are independent of the weight loss. But without a doubt, they have become increasingly popular as a way to lose weight. It's estimated, according to some research polls, that 1 in 8 Americans has been on a GLP-1 receptor agonist at some point, with polls revealing that younger adults are much more likely to have reported considering or taking one of these medications in comparison to older adults over the age of 65. GLP-1 receptor agonists make you not have much of an appetite, not think about food, not even really feel like eating, and make you feel full faster. That's kind of the gist of how they help with weight loss, although there's a lot more science behind how they work for weight loss that we're not going to get into in today's video. But some people lose a lot of weight, and they lose a lot of weight very quickly. Whenever you lose a significant amount of body fat over a short period of time, you can experience many changes to the face that might make you look, well, a little bit older than you actually are. These include sagging facial skin, thinning lips, prominent hollows, more prominent bone structure. And the overlying skin may not have had time to accommodate, and this may lead to more laxity, more sagging. Any profound rapid weight loss, however, can lead to changes such as this. Whether it be a crash diet and exercise routine or weight loss surgery, doesn't matter. This can happen. However, some newer research, at least lab-based research, also highlights that these medications might actually be altering the skin in such a way to have a more direct outcome on skin elasticity and collagen content, aside from simply the rapid loss of fat. Preclinical studies suggest that GLP-1 receptor agonists, such as Ozempic, might actually impact something known as adipocyte-derived stem cells. This is a population of cells that sit in the upper layers of the dermis, and they actually give rise to fibroblasts, the collagen-producing cells, and adipocytes, the fat cells. Studies suggest that GLP-1 receptor agonists actually reduce uptake of glucose into these cells. In other words, perhaps as a result of these medications, these stem cells may not have adequate energy to do what they need to do to restore volume in the face. This is especially important when we're talking about skin quality over time, because these cells, these stem cells, release certain messengers that signal for the production of collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. So in other words, the question becomes, is it possible that these medications are altering how our skin behaves for the long term? If so, will stopping the medications reverse these changes? More research is needed. As it stands now, however, the outcome of change to the face appears to be mostly observed in the setting where people lose a lot of weight very quickly on these medications. Some people may be on doses that are not appropriate for them, and these medications basically can leave you with no appetite. In addition to that, you may feel very full very quickly. You just don't want to eat. A lot of people simply don't want to even drink water. They feel so full. And as you can imagine, the reduction in food as well as water can leave you, well, dry, dehydrated. Now, it's kind of ironic because I always go on and on about how the answer to skin problems is not drink more water, right? Anytime someone has an acne breakout, there's always someone giving that unsolicited feedback of, oh, have you tried drinking more water? Like that's magically going to clear up your skin. But you can become dehydrated by not taking in food and water regularly as needed to meet your daily needs, and this can lead to dehydration, which definitely affects skin turgor, skin elasticity. If you do become truly dehydrated, one of the manifestations of that is that when you pinch the skin, it remains tinted, deformed. It takes a long time to go back, as opposed to hydrated skin. That water gets retained in the deeper layers of the skin through all of the water-loving ground substance that is supposed to be down there. As that water content declines with dehydration, well, you don't have that recoil and snap. Things aren't sliding back and forth as efficiently. Another thing to factor in when it comes to what we are seeing as far as changes to the face with these medications is that people who are in this situation where they are losing a lot of weight very quickly, a lot of body fat over a short period of time, not getting in good nutrition or hydration, well, the body starts to direct its efforts to breaking down other tissues, including muscle. And this likewise can have a negative impact on the appearance of our skin, of our face, and make us look, well, older. Everything starts to sag, to descend, and you have prominent hollows. I mentioned that people may be less inclined to take in good water, and by not drinking water regularly, that can even impact your dental hygiene as well. Dry mouth is a big culprit in dental problems, gum problems, and drinking water is helpful for reducing those issues. Staying hydrated is key. If you're not taking in food, water, this is a possible consequence, negative dental health, which ultimately over the long run can translate into even more facial aging as it negatively impacts the bones in the face. It's definitely a delicate balance because on the one hand, obesity is pro-aging. People who are obese, when they look at certain markers of the aging process, epigenetic markers, they show them at an earlier age. Excess fat stores generate a lot of inflammation throughout the body that has a negative impact on aging. Furthermore, GLP-1 receptor agonists not only may help you get to a healthier body fat to reduce those issues, but they also can have a positive effect on blood sugar, and ultimately that could bode well for something known as glycation. I've talked a lot about glycation in other videos, but it is a contributor to skin aging above and beyond, of course, sun damage and just the natural processes, but sugars binding to proteins in the skin make them very stiff, very rigid. That's kind of the rudimentary explanation. Also can lead to skin yellowing, sallowness over time. So in theory, GLP-1 receptor agonist medications could potentially help offset some of that glycation in the long run. And of course, their anti-inflammatory effects can bode well, not just for skin aging, but for total body health as well. So they're certainly not necessarily as a category of medications, something that is going to aid you if you go on them. But there's definitely a lot of nuance that needs to be factored in terms of the kind of results that you are getting from the medications, how you're taking them, and importantly, how all of the other essential components are being addressed. These medications really should only be administered by a physician who is well versed in these medications and obesity management, alongside a team of providers to take care of other aspects that are necessary, such as nutrition, key, making sure that you are doing some sort of resistance training. Nowadays, you can go online and you can get these medications with the click of a button, no problem in many cases, or you can walk down to a med spa and get them. But I do think that people who acquire these in less conventional ways are more prone, more vulnerable to more serious side effects. Maybe the medication is dosed too high for what they need. They end up losing weight too quickly, losing their appetite completely, not having good nutrition. Their overall health declines as a result. And they are the groups of people for which Ozempic face is going to be a lot more of an issue, as opposed to someone who's doing this the healthy way, the right way, with their doctor and a team of healthcare providers monitoring the dosage, adjusting accordingly, counseling on proper nutrition, exercise, hormonal health as well. Speaking of hormonal health, which can be a bit of a vague buzz phrase, but in this case specifically, it's important because I talk a lot about menopause in many of my other videos, and about how with menopause, women experience a decline in estrogen. And that brings about a new source outside of just sun damage related loss of collagen. The loss of estrogen leads to new onset and continued collagen loss because estrogen signals to those fibroblasts to make collagen. So menopausal women who lose a lot of weight very quickly on these medications are even more vulnerable. And so the impact on your skin is going to be even greater, coupled with the changes in the skin, perhaps either directly due to the medication's effects on those adipocyte-derived stem cells, or indirectly just by virtue of the fact that you have lost a lot of body fat very quickly. I think these medications as a whole have been amazing for many people for a variety of reasons, above and beyond weight loss, although the weight loss for some people can completely change their life and completely change their health. So the key here, in my opinion, is that these things need to be pursued correctly, not just, oh, let's get on them and ignore everything else and try and get the weight off as quickly as possible, because I think that's really where you can run into a lot of unwanted adverse effects above and beyond just the Ozempic face. But as I've said in all of my videos, the skin is a window to what is going on internally. So what could you do to prevent this? Well, like I suggested earlier in the video, you want to make sure that you are taking these medications under doctor's supervision. You're being monitored, making sure that your weight loss is not too rapid. Also, you want to make sure you are incorporating resistance training. If you're someone who does not want to do any kind of resistance training or any sort of exercise, and you think that going on one of these medications is going to be the secret to getting healthy, yeah, you'll lose a lot of body fat and it might actually reverse some markers, but you could actually end up just as unhealthy due to muscle loss and poor nutrition, which brings me to my next point as far as prevention. Nutrition is so important here because as you are losing that body fat, you want to make sure that you are staying on top of good nutrition. You're going to be having a reduced calorie intake. I mean, that's a big part of how they work, right? They lead you to take less in. They really, really help you to take in significantly fewer calories. But if you're not taking in hardly any, you're not getting adequate nutrition. And this is something that blows a lot of people's mind. People who have obesity, many of them actually have various underlying nutrient deficiencies. And so if you are going in to taking one of these medications and you already have poor nutrition, well, that's something that could set you up for being more likely to have negative effects, not just on your skin, but on your total body health. So optimizing the nutrition and really, really focusing on that now, today, and yesterday is so important. And these are habits that you're going to need to maintain for the rest of your life. They are habits that are going to help you stay healthy, and they're going to help you with the weight management moving forward, because these medications, they're really expensive. Many people are not able to stay on them indefinitely. Many people end up gaining the weight back when they stop. And a big reason why that happens for a lot of people is that they did not prioritize the habits, the lifestyle factors that are necessary to maintain the weight loss. So that's so important. You can't skip out on that. And you can't skip out on the exercise. Exercise and healthy eating, they're necessary for a healthy lifestyle. You want to make sure, for example, that your diet includes plenty of protein, amino acids, and that you're incorporating that resistance training. This is really important for maintaining muscle mass. People who are losing weight and want to address the needs of the skin and collagen need to make sure that they're taking in plenty of fruits and vegetables to get vitamin C, as well as sources of zinc. And you want to make sure that you are doing this with the help of a healthcare team, because you can run into so much bad information on the internet that, yeah, it really can lead you astray. There are all sorts of diet fads, people claiming this, that, and the other. There's so much bad information out there. Stick with your healthcare provider and a registered dietitian who has experience in this field. Keep up the good sun protection, because if you do lose elasticity in your skin, damage to the collagen and the supportive framework from unprotected sun exposure, it's not going to help things out. Now, when it comes to reversing some of the volume loss, yes, there are cosmetic treatments that can help rejuvenate that. For example, the biostimulatory filler Sculptra can be used not only to restore some lost volume, but it also can help to stimulate collagen production for the long run. And so it can be something that's very helpful. Also, hyaluronic acid fillers not only restore lost volume, but they also help with hydration, moisture retention in the skin. Then, of course, for loose skin and for significant sagging, there are a variety of plastic surgical approaches like a facelift, there's fat grafting, eyelid surgery, neck lift. Those procedures are outside of my area of expertise, but there are a lot of cosmetic procedures, plastic surgery to address the sagging and the loose skin. So in summary, Ozempic face, it's a real thing. It's something that you need to be informed about if you are contemplating going on one of these medications, but it's also not something that you should fear is going to get in the way of your health goals. It's going to be a guarantee adverse event. Like I said, this is mostly something that is being seen with people who lose a lot of weight, significant amount of body fat very quickly over a short period of time in an unhealthy way, and aren't addressing some of the other important lifestyle habits like nutrition and resistance training, and of course staying hydrated, which is a surprising recommendation because, like I said, I'm I'm the first person to always roll my eyes whenever someone says, oh, just drink more water. But if you're not drinking any water, it's not good for your skin. It's not good for that elasticity, that recoil. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful and informative and that it brought you up to speed. I know there's so much misinformation out there about these medications. I am by no means an expert in these medications, but as this relates to skin, I can talk to you guys about how to think about its effects on your skin moving forward if you choose to pursue these, and some cautionary notes about situations you might find yourself in that put you at greater risk, such as obtaining these medications with just a simple click and not really spending time with a doctor and a professional team addressing all of the really important parts of executing these medications safely and effectively. I hope this video was informative. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!